Good afternoon, Mr. Washington. My name is Eva Lucas Oaks, and I'm a licensed social worker, and I'm here to conduct an interview of you since you are a direct child care worker and service provider.
All right.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. Before we get started, do you have any questions for me?
No, not at this point.
Okay. At any time you wish to take a break, just let me know and we could pause. Also, just note that this interview is being conducted and is strictly confidential.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, to start my interview, I have introduced myself as a licensed social worker, and I'm here to interview on 3 specific topics as they relate to the family and the children and the role of the children in the home, the social worker or the child care worker in the family home setting, as well as the necessary skills that are needed in order for you to be a child care worker. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you decide to become a child care provider?
I decided to be a child care provider because they're our most vulnerable resources in society. I've always had a large family and been a coach. Been working with kids pretty much all my life, whether it's in a professional capacity or just in general with the public.
Okay. What is your relevant experience with working directly with children and families in the home care setting?
Well, my experience is primarily within the boundaries of daily care, teaching, pretty much in the behavior sense of care, also to help with the child development.
Okay. Now, could you describe a stressful situation that you were ever in?
The most stressful situation that I've been in, as far as like my career with childcare, is when a child is afraid to come forth with things that are bothering them and things that they feel indifferent about because they're very afraid of being blamed, a lot of stereotypical things that they would find. They always try to find themselves at fault.
Okay. Now, could you describe to me an experience of accessing and or addressing a risk that you've come across in the home care setting?
I had experience with a risk with a child that was in an abusive situation. He was not directly one being physically abused, but he was in the loop of like watching and asked to care for his younger siblings.
Okay. Now, how would you use evidence, critical thinking, and research to do your job?
Well, first of all, I'd have to research the child's answers, where they're coming from. Then I would have to actually find a way to make the child feel comfortable with more information. Then I would have to get someone else involved.
Okay, thank you. Now, could you provide me an example of a complex child care that you were involved with, child care case?
Well, there was a child that was adopted, and he had come from an abusive situation to where transition. He had to re-socialize himself and into another family.
Okay. Was that transition successful?
It was successful, but it was with a lot of direct care and professional assistance.
Okay, thank you. Now, could you tell me about what would be expected of you underneath the Care Act law?
Actually, I'm a mandated reporter of abuse and to assist with the abuse and always provide privacy and a safe environment for the person that's involved.
Okay, thank you. Now, how have you worked with families in the home care setting?
I've worked directly and indirectly. I've had to care, the person that I was actually care for, I had to actually wind up being involved with the whole family so that they can understand and be comfortable with the child's development as far as like what my input was.
Okay, thank you. Now, our field is always changing, Mr. Washington. So, as such, what have you done in regards to keeping up with professional development, such as additional schoolwork, in-services, workshops?
I've actually had workshops, and I've also got involved with the political side because the ideologies drive policy. And if the policy comes down to me, I need to understand it. And then when you have co-workers that you need to pass this on, and then I had to also review and revise ethical behaviors on my own and my co-workers that I've been in touch with during my profession.
Okay, great. Now, what are some of the family strengths that you've witnessed in the home setting?
They rally around the point of empowerment. So it's important that you empower the family to assist so that they feel like they're so much a part of it. And it makes the client feel a lot comfortable because those are the people that they see on a daily basis. Those are the people that they're closest to. You are there, but you can be gone in an instant with the end of care.
Okay, that's great. Now, what are some of the weaknesses that you've witnessed with the family in this home setting?
With the weaknesses are them being involved with social problems that they have, such as alcoholism, drug use, absenteeism, and unemployment, and dealing with their own situations.
Okay, well, thank you. Now, has that greatly affected the children that live within the home? Like, have you seen a difference in their abilities to study, them being able to have adequate enough food and shelter?
It's affected them in the fact that when you're trying to